And good morning. This is Joni Eisenberg with Chuck Hicks. And this is ToHealDC. Good morning, Chuck. We have a very special show for you today. Of course, this show is called ToHealDC. And one of the goals for our show over the past 30 years we've been on is to celebrate and promote organizations and movements in the community that really promote wellness. And we're very excited to spend the entire hour today with something new and something different and positive in Ward 8. It's called The Well. It is a community wellness space, an intergenerational farm. And we're going to be talking to the folks involved with The Well in a moment, including a number of children, I believe, are going to be joining us. But before we jump into the show, I just wanted to say I'm thankful to be doing such a positive story today. It was a difficult week for me and for many of us who were close to the family of a person, James Sherd, who I've known and Chuck has known since the 90s, a single dad who lost his son a week ago, Kevin, due to police violence, police murder of this young man. And we will be talking more about it in the future. And next week is homegoing service. We won't be on the air, but someone else will be doing our show for us. But in the backdrop of this ongoing tragedies in our community, we are very delighted to be bringing you a positive show today. And Chuck, you could just mention in a sentence, you will be going to an exciting trip to Louisiana this coming week. Do you want to just share what you'll be doing?
Yes, I'll be going down because the governor of Louisiana is coming to unveil a landmark at our house, our family house, where all the civil rights activities took place, and they'll recognize it in the state of Louisiana as a historic civil rights landmark. And so I'll be going down for that, leaving tomorrow. But we're excited about it. It not only represents my family, but it represents the people in the community who came together to fight for social justice.
Absolutely, and that's in Bogalusa, and your dad was one of or the founder in Bogalusa Deacons for Defense, and we've discussed that many times on the air. We will continue to discuss it, but we congratulate you and your family, and we're very proud of the Hicks family in Bogalusa, Louisiana. We look forward to a report when you come back. So with that said, we're going to jump into our show today. We're going to be starting with Jaron Hill Lockridge, who is the director of The Well at OXON Hill in Southeast DC. Jaron, are you with us?
I am. And thank you so much for having me today, Joni.
Oh, look at you guys. I wish we were on TV, but you guys can just imagine all the beautiful people in this picture of The Well. It's very inspiring. So we're going to be getting to all of you guys, but I'm going to start with Jaron. Jaron, before we talk about The Well, tell us, and you've been on with us before, of course, but tell us briefly, who are you?
Well, thank you so much, Joni. Let me first start with Happy Ward 8 Day.
Yes.
Happy Ward 8 Day. For those that don't know, here at The Well, we like to celebrate any and everything, every chance we get, right? And we've kind of coined the 8th day of the 8th month, which is today, Ward 8 Day. And this is a day where we're going to celebrate our favorite things about ourselves, the community, and the community in which we live. So really excited to be joined here with what I consider to be my dream team here at The Well. I have an awesome team of people who just help support and make this place come to life. There's the farm facilitator, Mr. Kenneth Bridges.
Yay!
Go ahead, say something, Mr. Kenneth Bridges.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to be on this platform, and thankful to be here today.
Yes, I want to just say that Kenny has a fan club out there. If we had time to open up the phones, you'd hear the great appreciation and love that Ward 8 residents, who some of whom I know, are very excited about Kenny and the well. So go on, Jared.
Next up, we have Miss Melanie Guerrero. She's our well coordinator. I'll let her say a few words.
Hi, Joni. Hi, everyone. It's good to meet you guys over Zoom. I'm excited to be here today and excited to always be here at the well.
And then we also have Miss Liz, Green Within. She's not only an awesome agronomist, a culinary artist, but she's also our food efficiency expert here at the well.
Wow.
Hi, Liz, I've been here for a little over 3 months, and I'm just always grateful to be in this space. It's super transformative. It's been a joy sharing it with my coworkers, my farm family, and the community. And yeah, I'm excited to tell you guys about our time here.
And what is an agronomist for those of us who might not know? Liz?
That's Miss Jaren's favorite word. So. So let me say that we're going to save that one for a little bit because the last person I want to introduce is Mr. Stefan Lockridge II. Let me say that my first job and full-time job is being a mom. And my second job is being the director of the well. And so I have my children with me learning every chance that I get. And he's been literally building with us every step of the way. And he's also our Ward 8 Water Watcher ambassador. So he's going to share some information with you all as well. But Stefan, can you say a few words to the people?
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. And that's
Stefan, how may I ask you, how old are you?
I'm 13.
13, yay. Okay, great.
Stefan, what an agronomist is. Stefan, what's an agronomist?
An expert in soil management and crop production.
Wow.
And so one of the things that we like to do here at the well is identify not just like your subject matter expertise, but off of what you were trained to do, but also like your lived experience. Now, this is a space that we're really clear. It's not just the book smart, but it's like your lived experience that sometimes equates for more than, than the books could ever teach you. And so with agronomy, we recognize that that's a farmer, right? That's a farmer. But a lot of times, if you haven't gone to the schools, if you don't have the technical training, you don't get that level of expertise. But here, we know what we're doing. We really know what we're doing. So I'm so excited to not just have an agronomy team, but I also call them my dream team here at the well.
And that they are. And Ward 8 Day, let me just ask you, has this been celebrated other years?
Yes, I've been celebrating it, I think, every time I got here. So it's been celebrated Stefan's whole life for 13 years. And I don't want to take credit, for something. I don't know if there are many original thoughts after 2022 years. So I dare not take credit for it. I say often that I stand on the shoulders of those who come before us. And so, Mayor for Life, Marion Barry, I'm sure he celebrated Ward 8 Day at least 8 times in his life.
Yes. And so let's jump into the well. And I want to give a shout out to DC Greens, who I'm very familiar with. And I know I worked a lot back in the day with Lauren Beal. And DC Greens, you could say, is I don't know the best word, but certainly an important group that helped to launch this program. But as
powered by, we say the well is powered by DC Greens.
Powered, that's a great word.
And let me also say shout out to our new executive director, Miss Tiffany Fitzgerald. She's recently joined the DC Greens family, and we're really excited to have a new leader and to be under her direction as we're growing this new space and transforming, from the inside out.
Absolutely. And I know you guys say that the well was designed by residents. Residents took a leading role in designing what the well was going to be about. So either Jaren or Kenny, whoever wants to just speak to that briefly.
Yeah, so during the initial phases of the envisioning process of the well coming into fruition, there were a series of focus groups that took place right in the very spot where the well currently sits. And along that period of time during which I wasn't a part of, and Jaron can give you more of the actual details of what took place. But they really wanted to explore what the necessity or what the need or the vision was from community members during those focus groups times. And so that's where a lot of what we see in terms of the what sits here at the well and what it represents in the space. And in terms of the architectural design and some of the vision, Jaron can speak a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So when DC Greens originally said that they were bringing this garden, this farm space over to the Great Ward 8, you know, it's like if you had a blank check and a blank canvas, what all would you do? And there were so many different things that we wanted to be a part of this space, from a space for our elders to tell their stories, as well as a place for our children to learn. If you could see us right now, we're literally sitting in our outdoor classroom. You know how they say most schools have a garden, but we say that this garden has a school where we're able to teach our children and bring subject matter experts right here into OXON Run Park, you know, to give our kids experiences that sometimes they might not otherwise have access to.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you call it, which it is, a wellness space in the community. And as we know, and I hate to even mention it again, but of course, Ward 8 has the highest rates of all the disease, diabetes, and on and on and on. But this is a wellness space. This is helping to bring wellness into the community. And before we move on with the well, I just wanted to give Jaron also a shout out, because she's linked with a family that is also very important in Ward 8, the Lockridge family. And I have worked over the years with Wanda Lockridge, who is your mother-in-law, who is the chief of staff for Trayon White. And William Lockridge, did you want to say anything about William Lockridge, who was also very much a part of PFW? And we frequently heard him and still lift him up. Anything else you want to say?
Absolutely. And actually, I want to give my son an opportunity to speak. He just traveled back from the continent of Africa in the country of Benin with the William O. Lockridge Community Foundation, a foundation that we started in honor of his father's father, Mr. William Lockridge. And he's had the opportunity to travel as an international ambassador and, you know, take the work that we're doing here in the Great Ward 8 overseas, as well as bring some of those resources back over here. So, Stefan, do you want to speak a little bit to your experience? Who are some of the people that you met, and what are some of the activities that you did while you were there?
Some of the activities I have done in Africa, and some of the people I've met were the kings of Porto Novo, and I also met the ambassador of the U.S. to Benin.
Wow. Well, we're very proud to meet you, and many of us knew your grandfather, and we continue to be proud of him as well, and the whole family.
Let me share, Joni. You know, Stefan is out here as a Ward 8 Water Watcher ambassador, and that's, you may hear some more young people in the background because, again, this is an outdoor classroom space. But as a Ward 8 Water Watcher ambassador, we've partnered with the Green Scheme. You know, here at the well, a lot of the work that we do, this is a teaching farm, and of the 50,000 square feet of it, there's a youth garden here that's anchored by the outdoor classroom. And the Green Scheme has been sitting at the intersection of food justice and urban agriculture and environmental justice for quite a while. And for those who don't know, OXON Run Creek, it runs into the Chesapeake Bay. And so I'm going to ask Stefan a series of questions, and I'm excited for him to share that information with you. You know, and this is some of the stuff that he's learned as a result of being out here with us. And
before you do that, I just want to give a shout out. The Green Scheme has also been a frequent guest on our airways, Ronnie and to the team. And so we're going to have to do a part 2, Jaron, and bring Ronnie and the Green Scheme in as well. But I'm sorry. Go on, Stefan.
Stefan, what's the body of water that the well sits on?
OXON Run Creek.
And how big is OXON Run Creek?
8.4 miles.
And what does it flow into?
The Auction Cove.
And what does that flow into?
The Anacostia River. The Potomac River.
What do they plan to do with OXON Run Creek?
They plan to naturalize it.
And what does that mean?
They're going to take the cement out with heavy machinery.
And why are they going to do that?
So the nature can thrive more.
All right, what's the body of water that separates east of the river from the rest of the city?
The Anacostia River.
And how big is it?
12.4 miles.
And what does it flow into?
The Potomac River.
And how big is it?
405 miles.
And what does it flow into?
The Chesapeake Bay.
And how big is it?
4,479 square miles.
And what does it flow into?
The Atlantic
And
Ocean.
how big is it?
41,100,000 square miles.
Awesome.
Wow.
That's the water resources and how it connects to the rest of the world right here in the Great Ward 8. I got a little bit more for you. So, Stefan, who's the president of the United States?
President Joe Biden.
And who's the vice president?
Vice President Kamala Harris.
And what city do you live in?
DC.
And who's your congressional representative?
Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton.
And who runs the city?
Mayor Muriel Bowser.
And how many people are on the DC City Council?
13.
How many of them are black?
7.
How many of them are black men?
4.
How many of them are black women?
3.
Who represents you on the DC City Council?
Councilmember Sharon White.
And what ANC do you live in?
8D.
What's the biggest thing in DC government's inventory?
OXON Park.
And how big is it?
126 acres.
Outside of the tidal basin, where can you find the largest amount of cherry blossom trees?
OXON Park.
All right, thank you.
Wow. Wow. See, Chuck, that's why we need that applause button.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that something? As a inspiring thing.
And I say that, as a Ward 8 water watcher, he is learning how he relates to the rest of the world, and we're bringing all of those subject matter expertise here. Today, he's actually going to be leading a class where he's bringing other Ward 8 water watcher ambassadors on so that they can learn those same information and spit that same facts. Again, we stand on the shoulders of giants, and let me say shout out to Mr. Ike Foster and Out of the Mouths of Babes. If you guys ever saw, he had our children learning this information for years. And this is not new, what we're doing. We are not doing anything new. We're just kind of consolidating it and putting a nice little bow on it.
Wow. Well, I would encourage all the listeners to visit the well. It's so inspiring. I wish really I could be there every day of the week. It's wonderful.
Tell you where we are. We're located on Valley Avenue, the 300 block of Valley Avenue. We are intentionally serving the Congress Heights, Washington Highlands, and Bellevue communities on the south side of the Great Ward 8.
Yay! Yes.
Let me ask a question. How do young people or people join the well? Is there a process?
So for the young people, we encourage them to go through the green scheme. We recognize that, we're a conduit for resource transfer unapologetically here. And together with the green scheme, we are bringing different resources and subject matter expertise right here. So lock into the green scheme, follow them on Instagram, on their website. But let me also say, here at the well, you can just pull up. We're here Tuesday through Saturday. Tuesday through Saturday, pull up. It's not hard to find us.
Yes, and again, the green scheme, I think we used to have the green scheme on at least once a month. We really worked closely with the green scheme and in the recent or in the past.
In the green scheme, we're on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So let me say, shout out to them. When it comes to our programming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the green scheme is out here with our young people, taking them into the creek, doing creek exploration, water quality monitoring, getting their hands-on experience with growing their own food. So shout out to them and the work that they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's hear a little bit more about some of the activities that go on at the well. And I'm going to ask Kenny, because I know people are always talking about you, Kenny, and are so excited about what you're doing. So share a little bit more with our listeners about what you do at the well.
Well, I first would like to say thank you for the affirmation and the appreciation that you're expressing on the platform. I really appreciate the feedback. And we're always open to learning more ways of how to integrate work and just how to interface with our community. So thank you so much for the appreciation. I appreciate you all back. Most of what we've been doing throughout this summer on the farm space is really getting to understand and know and create and build the ecosystem that we want to thrive in. And that's on the farm level as well as on the community level. And so, aside from the general practices that go on, we've had some seed planting sessions in which we've interacted with the community to encourage and to do some seedling startups. We've also been doing some community planting. Initially, during a lot of the startup phases, a few community members came out to help with doing the plantings of the watermelons as well as the pumpkins, some of the kale and the lettuce that we had in our first session. A lot of the work that we're doing, we want to make this space more of an educational space than a workspace. And so we're trying to create the environment that doesn't require as much work as one would expect in a farm space. And so our goal is to really, create opportunities for community members and folks who want to learn to come by during significant periods during the grow and harvesting season. So our next significant harvest will be probably within the next week and a half or so. We have some significant crops growing that we love to share with our nearby community members, including some corn, squash and beans, okra, peppers, and tomatoes.
Oh.
And so
Wow.
we have a farm stand that's on the property in which we're able to open up and place some of our harvest out in the community so that they can come by and harvest as they would like. And especially today, we have a large pickup of produce and shout out to Capital Area Food Bank, who's provides us with a monthly subsidy of produce for approximately 240 boxes that we're able to distribute to the communities. And so what we like to do is we integrate some of our crops and things that we've grown along with the boxes that they provide for us. And we put those out on the farm stand to just give an opportunity to, share the food with the folks and also what type of programs that we have going on here. In addition to the green scheme programming that we have going on, we're also partnering with a few other small businesses and organizations, including Dynamic Wellness and the DC State Chess Federation with Mr. Aug8. They come by as well every Tuesday and Thursday between 11 and 12 to work with our young people, as well as in the intergenerational perspective to do chess.
Wow.
Chess is closely related to farming when it comes to critical thinking and planning ahead and decision making. So we try to also incorporate programming that has some significance to do with maintaining our wellness and our mental, emotional, and physical states. We also are doing African drumming with Dr. Yu, who's a well-known drummer in the community and in the nearby area in the DMV. He comes on every Thursdays from 5:30 to 6:30 and does African drumming. And as we all know, drumming is a significant piece that plays a role in African traditional spiritual work when it comes to doing the farm work. We want to get into a rhythm. We want to get into song and praise, and that really brings up the essence and the spirit in the farm space. So we're thankful to have him in the space as well. We also incorporate yoga and body therapy and qigong into this community work because we recognize that healing and wellness is something that is offered on multiple platforms. And so when we call this the well, yes, it's significantly about the educational farm work that we're doing, but we also want to incorporate our three pillars, which is recognizing physical wellness, emotional wellness, and financial wellness. And, everything that Jaren said holds true in terms of this place being a space of resource transfer. We often say that when people come into the space, they're welcome to take what they need and leave behind the things that others can utilize or things that they no longer need. And that's in all aspects of the meaning. And so, again, I thank you for this opportunity to share this word with you. Any other questions?
Well, I just want to say, I'm sorry, Chuck. I'm very excited because what you're speaking about, Kenny, has so many links with people that I'm close to and who we've had on the show. And I just want to mention, I hear you mention Dynamic Wellness. And of course, that space is actually on 8th Street in Northeast. And now my mind is not thinking of the brother's name. Huh?
It's relocated on
Nate.
4th. Yep, Mr. Nate on 4th and 8th.
Yes, Mr. Nate. So Nate, some of you may remember that he took over Brother Bay's space of maybe about 10 12 years ago. So Nate is always calling me, and he just has talked about the watermelon shipment
Right.
that he got in, and he has been asking me to feature the chess players on this show. So I'm happy to hear that you're working with Nate and Dynamic Wellness on that project. I also want to give a shout out to Coy Dunstan, Secrets of Nature, and I understand you're also working with him,
Yes.
which is a wonderful place over in Southeast. So you're very much part of, we're all one family here.
Yes.
So, so Chuck, I'm sorry. Did you want to?
What I wanted to say that I was particularly interested in was this whole chess piece, because I think it's next year, the International Youth Chess Tournament will be held in Washington, D.C. And about 6 weeks ago, a brother called me and said that they were interested in trying to get more African-American boys and women, girls, into being involved in chess. And so we being the DC Black History Celebration Committee, is going to be coordinating and working with some people to get them more interested in chess, because it would be it's terrible for them to come here and not have a good representation of African Americans in this whole international chess tournament that's going to be here. So I would love to reach out to you and a couple of contacts that I have, so that we can sort of make all this come together as one.
Absolutely.
And Chuck, they've been asking me for quite a while, so I have to bring you up to date. They've been wanting to be on the show to talk, so we'll get that together, because there's some.
I certainly appreciate the feedback, and I would defer, as Miss Joni is doing, the chess relations to Mr. Nate at Dynamic Wellness and Mr. Vaughn. They have that whole operation on lock. And here at the Well, we want to function as a hub, and we recognize that food is the access and entry point to address all of our concerns in the community. As our great historians and ancestors have said in the past, people without connection to their history and to land are lost folk. And so from this space, we recognize that there are many things that we can do. And we want to make sure that our partnerships are in alignment with the vision that we hold here at the Well. And we're thankful to have Mr. Vaughn and Mr. Nate be a part of that. In August, on the 27th, we're actually holding a memorial festival for Mr. Humam Abdul Malik, who was also a well-known member in the community across the district, and a well-known chess player, to commemorate and memorialize all of his efforts and work in the space of chess. So again, continue to look out for more information on that through Dynamic Wellness and with Mr. Nate and Mr. Vaughn. Thank you.
Yes, and we will, because I understand, have been having some challenges dealing with I'll just say racism in this area. So we'll be revisiting that issue. You're listening to WPFW 89.3 FM. This is ToHealDC with me, Joni, and with Chuck Hicks. And we are excited today to be spending the hour with activists from the Well, a community wellness space, an intergenerational farm. And I must say, they just opened on June 4th this year. So we're very excited to hear what they're up to, and we're going to figure out a way to have them on a regular basis, together with the Green Scheme, which has already been part of our family. So let's jump back to Jaron. You can help bring in some of the other wonderful folks who are sitting up there outside with you, and of course the listeners can't see them, and I don't remember everybody's name, so you can help direct.
I'll cue them up. I will cue them up. So next up is Miss Melanie Guerrero. Let me say, when it comes to DC Green, I've been here a little bit less than 2 years, but Mel has more institutional knowledge when it comes to the organization than I do. When it comes to feeding people, before joining us over at the Well, she was a part of the Produce Plus family, which is a program that we as DC Green sunsetted last year that now is with, I'll let Mel tell you.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Darren. So I used to work at Produce Plus now got shifted over to Fresh Farm. Dream of mine that I've had since I was in college was to be a part of the well. As Jaron and Kenny mentioned, the community members have.
Are we having trouble hearing you? Kalia, is she able to be heard, or is it just me?
Space for you. And I remember being.
Joni? I can't hear anything. Let me.
Oh no. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Nope. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Joni, can you hear me? Oh, so it's Joni who can't hear us. Oh.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Is everybody else speaking? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we have a little technical issue. Jaron,
We're still here. We're still here.
yes. Okay. So I'm sorry. We keep on going, which you were discussing.
Yeah, June, I think the last thing I mentioned was I remember being in my college course, learning about the well, and completely having my light bulb go off, and just being really excited to work with DC Greens and the Produce Plus program, but really just, excited to be like, who's the director of this space? When are they going to come on? And then once Jaron came on, I tapped her ear and I'm like, Jaron, I would love to be a part of the well whenever that opportunity rises. And I'm excited to just be in this space and to work alongside this team.
Yes. And I'll just say too, Jaron, that I had at least two people I know wanted to jump on and be part of this program. You have such a great fan base out there. And I'm going to give a shout out to Charles Owens and Damian Baskin. If you guys are listening, and I don't know if this will work, but you can try calling the station if you want to jump in. And they're always telling me how excited they are about the well. I think Charles goes there all the time, and Charles always says, if you go to the well, you can always find Kenny there.
Shout out to Mr. Charles Owens. That is one of our near and dear friends and families here at the well. He's also our Qigong and body movement instructor. So he facilitates a program every Tuesday and Thursday morning from 10:30 to 11:30. You all are more than welcome to come by and join us. You can feel free to check out our schedule at dcgreens.org/the well. Shout out to Damien and everyone who names go unmentioned who supports and lifts up the well space. Thank you.
That's right. And Charles, if you're listening, or Damien, give us a call at 202-588-0893. Charles has just some beautiful pictures that he's always posting. And speaking about pictures, we didn't even discuss, there's so many positive things that are going on at the well. It's hard to cover them all. But one thing is the amazing murals you guys have.
Absolutely. Shout out to our artist, Khalid Crosby. Like, he's an awesome artist. We call him our art director here at the well. When I come as one, I stand as 10,000. And I want to say that it's not just one person or one program that makes this space work. There have been so many people who've come through and who are contributing to this space. Mr. Kenneth Bridges is not only is a farmer, he's also a father. Miss Liz, not only is she an agronomist, but she's also a mom. And our children are the human butterflies that you often see going and growing through this space. Yes. So from the Mommy and Me programs to the fatherhood and farming programs, shout out to like Wanda and the Sisterhood Supper that they did, which brought amazing women into this space.
Wow. Again,
it's just so many different spaces and things that are contributing into making the well be what it is. Like this Saturday, we're going to have Swap DC doing a swap here, where we'll be exchanging, I think, children's clothing, books, seeds, vinyls. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And this is the space where we are really trying to make the best of all of the amazing resources that we've been blessed to have.
Wow. And I just want to go back to the murals because these murals are totally, totally unique. And who wants to describe what they're like and some of the historic people who were on those murals, but just what is it? Because it's I can't even put it into words how it is.
Well, that was one of the things that we knew would make this space significantly different from any other space. Shout out to the other garden and farm spaces in the Great Ward 8, from the ARC to UDC, Fort Greble, Fort Stanton. But one of the things that we knew would make this one particularly different was we wanted to put our art all over it. For those that don't know, Art All Night, shout out to the Chocolate City edition. It's coming up real soon. And in that, we've had over 20,000 people and over $250,000 in sales in a one-day pop-up. And the next day, there's no major evidence that it ever happened outside of Popeye's chicken selling out of chicken, right? And so we see it as an opportunity to really display and showcase our art, right? The art that makes us so different. Not only is it the fine arts, the music, the photography, the dance, things like that, but it's the way that we talk. It's the food that we eat, the way that we wear our clothes, the way that we style our hair, the way that our nails look, right? It's our entire lifestyle. And deciding that this was going to be a space where there's no such thing as being too Black, right? Or too loud or too anything. This is an outward expression of exactly who we are. And we knew that it was either like, we're going to put our art all over it. No, we're going to put our art all over it, period. That was it, right? Hard stop. And recognizing that, that was really what made the well unique to begin with, a garden and a farm with our art all over it. Well, then the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, and I became the director of this space, calling myself the woman at the well. So what does it mean to use food and use culinary arts as a way to express ourselves, as a way to feed ourselves, as a way to build community, and so many other things? And this is just one example of that. I want to see if Ms. Liz has anything to add into that, because when it comes to eating and culinary arts, if y'all have not seen her social media, shout out to her. It is a whole nother beautiful arrangement of food and art together.
So a little about my background here in Ward 8. I grew up on Capitol Hill. My father was the property manager of Mayfair Mansions back in '88. Shout out to him. His name is Glenn French. A lot of the families who live there probably remember him. So in my journey, just as a woman and a mom, I found myself getting out of the entertainment industry in DC, and I found myself back in the kitchen. I had a newborn and I wanted to make sure I was feeding him well. So I was taking my ABT card and I was walking to Whole Foods and I was walking to Giant and I was cooking these plant-based meals for us. And eventually, that kind of spilled over into cooking for my family. And then at some point that spilled over into cooking for my community. And I found myself back in the art scene, but as, this culinary person, and kind of introducing my friends to plant-based food. So a friend of mine hired me to cater an event for her. And I looked at the address and it was MLK Southwest. And I was like, I don't think I've ever been on MLK Southwest. I've hardly been in Southwest, period. So I came to this side of the city and I just saw an opportunity to connect with a part of the city that I genuinely had not been to before. But I know my father had gone to great lengths to try to make change. East of the river. And so I met Kenny a few years ago through the farm scene. I've been small scale farming for a few years. Maybe about 2 years ago during the pandemic, my nonprofit, Green Within, we started passing out plant-based meals in Ward 8. We would start at the top of South Capitol, Eastover, and go all the way down to the laundromat on Good Hope and just pass out 200 to 300 meals. I would have my team pull up and we would just make as much food as possible, source it from local farms. And I just saw an opportunity to combine that with the wellness that Kenny was doing and getting more experience on my own farm. Shout out to Elmira's Market, another staple over here in Ward 8. We've been building a relationship with them. They've been allowing us to do our pop-ups in front of the store, kind of use that as a catalyst. Shout out to DC Central Kitchen. They have the Healthy Corners fridge in Elmira's. That's been an amazing tool. And just kind of bringing all this together, tying Elmira's, tying the well, just creating a culture around healthy food, like reminding people why it's important even like just honoring, I feel like I'm doing like ancestral work. A lot of us here actually, I feel like all of us here have Southern roots, have Southern ties. And yeah, it's just an honor to be here. It's an honor to be able to lead people back to something that's so just natural and real, and should be much more important in our day-to-day lives. And thank you for the opportunity. I mean, yes, please pull up on us. Like Jaren said, we're here Tuesday through Saturday. Come learn, come bring your children, come get your hands in the soil. We walk around here with no shoes on. We're grounding every day, smelling flowers. It's an honor for this to even be my life. But this should be our life. You know, this should be a common just part of our day. And it's right here now in the heart of Southside. So yeah, please come see us.
Absolutely. And if us talking about mental health and dealing with depression and all that kind of stuff, all you need to do is go to the well and definitely put a smile in your face and in your heart. I just wanted to go to Kenny back for a minute. Kenny, tell us a little bit about you and your roots. Oh. And again, I'm always hearing about you, Kenny.
Again, I'm so appreciative of the platform. I cannot express how much, you know, that lightens my light. And so my family is actually from Southeast Washington, D.C. My grandmother and my mother and her siblings grew up right on Atlantic Street, about 5-minute walk away from where we are at the well. I can remember as a child walking across the creek on my cousin's back to go to P.R. Harris in elementary school. And so those are some of my fondest memories here in this community. As we got older, I moved over onto what we call Ward 9, which is right on the other side of Southern Avenue, but on the OXON Hill side. And I spent most of my adolescent and adult teenage years there. I graduated from Potomac High School, went to College Park, Maryland, graduated with a sociology degree, and spent most of my young career in organizing and social services. And so as I got more into social services, one of the things that I recognized or that I felt was lacking was the groundedness in nature. I didn't have the words to articulate it at that time, but as I was going through my own changes, I found myself, my most authentic self, in doing this work and connecting to the land. And so most of my relationship to agriculture has come through personal and spiritual development. I would love to give another shout out to some of our closest members and friends, Temple of Inyame with Nana Kwame.
Absolutely.
And so it's through his inspiration and members and fellow members at the temple that I had an opportunity to begin to cultivate the soil out in the Eastern Shore in Preston, Maryland. Love to give a shout out to our elders, Paulette Green and Donna Deere, who run a farm on the Eastern Shore by the name of Mount Pleasant Acres Farms. And a shout out as well to Brother Yarborough. These are individuals who really gave me the opportunity to get my hands dirty and to really learn how to interact with nature on a very personal level. And so I've always called myself an urban herbalist because I have a background in herbalism and holistic healing. And so with all of these opportunities coming together, you know, I found myself having the truest effect and social services and healing and impact on my community, not in case management, not in direct service through government work, but through farming. And, you know, it has done wonders for myself and my family. And, you know, what I've experienced, you know, I don't think, you know, it's something special that only should be what, you know, we here at the Well go through, but our entire community should have access and privy to these opportunities. And one of my biggest prayers was, after going back and forth from the Eastern Shore day to day for over a year, was that, you know, it would be great if I could just do this 10 minutes away from where I live. And, you know, and putting that prayer out there, you know, this opportunity came about. And I'm so thankful to have met Jaren and Lauren and others who have brought me into the space, and Melanie and Liz and Stefan. And I'm glad that our families interact. And it's really become just a home away from home. We call this our little Garden of Eden. And the knowledge that we share here, the knowledge and things that we learn through nature and through one another, is something that we want to disseminate from this space. And that's really the embodiment of where I am today. And again, I thank you all for the platform.
Well, you're very much a part of us. And when you spoke of Nana Kwabena Brown, of course, Nana Kwabena used to have his own show on WPFW, and is very much a part of the PFW family, and I'll say my family as well.
Tony?
That is such an amazing thing to hear. And all throughout these conversations, what I'm hearing is this network that we all share. And what we refer to it as on the farm space is the mycorrhizal network. We know that trees and plants share resources and water and information, nutrients through their roots underground. And when one tree is lacking, or when one resource is in need, they disseminate, they share. And you know, as we talk, I hear that through our conversations is the many connections that we all share, and how we all doing the work, and it's manifesting in a real true light.
Absolutely.
You know, Johnny, I would be remiss if we didn't also say shout out to the Friends of OXON and Mr. Absalom Jordan and Brenda Richardson.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You know, a lot of times people will see the well and be like, oh, this is so great. This is fancy. Yay. But honestly, this is like I said, standing on the shoulders of the giants who've come before us. So Brenda Richardson and Jackie Ward and Absalom Jordan and all of the work that, you know, Mayor for Life, Marion Berry did to preserve Oxon Run Park for future generations. We would not be here without them. And we are an extension of the work that they have done. So thank you to each and every one of them, as well as the rest of them who go unnamed, right?
There's more. And of course, Brenda Richardson, I give a shout out to her. She used to be the chief of staff of Marion Berry, and she helped to start the Ward 8 Health Council, which Jaron Lockridge is now the chair of. So it's so many connections. You also mentioned Gene Yarborough, who always was, I used to know him quite well. I haven't seen him lately, but he used to be on this show as well. I'm sorry, Chuck, you wanted to...
as always, you know, I'm interested in asking a question to Kenya, to Sister Lockridge. And all of these things, where do we find seniors today in this process? Those of us who are over 50, but are still interested in being a part of programs.
Oh, every Thursday. On Thursdays, we have Throwback Thursdays, where we intentionally slow everything down. Recognizing that, you know, sometimes we're like a microwave generation. We want everything real fast right now, immediately. Even the way and the cadence in which we talk has a certain speed to it. But on Thursdays, we try to remember to slow everything down, right? To make sure that everyone has a chance to enjoy this space. Because I don't think many things in nature rush. I don't think nature rushes with a lot of things. So on Thursdays, we ask our seniors to pull up, enjoy Qigong or drumming or chess or gardening or harvesting or eating the fruits of our harvest.
Yes. And I would have to say that the elders are, I'm so appreciative of our elders in the community who come by to share a word, to share information, to hold us accountable. I can't remember her name. I think her name may be Miss Tracy, but she pulls up just about every other day to make sure that we are picking that okra. Because she say if you don't pick that okra, it's gonna get hard. And she came by one place and it was a little too tall, so she made sure we pick out okra. And we want to shout out to Uncle Charles and some of the other uncles and aunties that come by, Miss Fatima and Miss Lisa, who have come by just to share their energy and volunteer in the space and have really made it come to light. Mr. Nate comes by on Thursdays to do chess.
Wow.
And then doing chess, he has so many stories to share and to tell.
Yes, he does.
And with Thursdays being our intergenerational day, it fits in so well. That's the opportunity for oral stories and things of that nature. And so we're so thankful.
Yes,
and we also say we like to hand dance on Thursday too, if possible, right?
Wow, and what time? Yes, what time is that?
We're trying to do that in the evenings around, like 4 or 5 or so. We're trying to do hand dancing here on Thursdays on a regular basis with our elders. So, come on up, pull up.
Yes, and we're going to have to meet. I want you to meet again LaShawn Baltimore, who's the queen of line dancing, Ward 8 resident, just a few blocks from the well. we're almost out of time. I just wanted to say, to make sure Kenny and you guys listen to the outro song we're going to play. Actually, Ronnie and the Green Scheme knew these folks, I believe. DJ Cavin. DJ Cavin is from out west. He's an activist, educator, vegan chef, award-winning album called The Produce Section. And he calls himself an OG, an organic gardener. And we're going to leave enough time to play the song, one of his songs. But maybe you guys, we could bring him out. You might consider bringing him out to DC and having a special event with this gardening DJ. So with that said, Jaron and Kenny, if you want to quickly give your last comment, real quick.
Well, again, we thank you for the opportunity. Everybody follow us on social media, Ward A Well, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. It's not hard to find us. And pull up on us, 300 Valley Avenue. We the folks at the well, the dream team.
Yes, and in the words of our great elders, there's no culture without agriculture.
Well, we're very, very excited to have you on. And Jaron, I'm going to call you later. We really need to figure out how you guys can be a regular part of PFW and of this show. For a while, the Green Scheme was doing messages, PSAs, promoting healthy eating. I just got a text from Ambrose Eileen Jr. He was trying to jump in. Of course, Ambrose can be heard nowadays on 5 p.m. on this radio station, WPFW. It's called To the East, and he talks about activities east of the river. So I'm sure he'll want to partner with you as well. That said, we want to thank our engineer for today, Kalia. Thanks to Mari, who helps us with the Zoom. Thanks to Crystal, who helps with the flyer. Thanks to you, Chuck. And thank you very, very, very much for you guys at the well, to Jaron, to Kenny, and to all of you. We're very excited. We're very proud of you. And this will not be the last time you're on. Chuck, did you want to say a final word?
Well, I have learned so much, and when I come back from Bogalusa, which is a little southern country town, and I love okra, I'm going to make my way over on a Thursday and spend some time over there. I've just been so intrigued and enthusiastic about this. So once again, quickly give us how we can reach you.
Follow us at Ward 8 Well, WARD, the number 8, WELL.
And the address?
300 Valley Avenue, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20032.
Okay, we're going to figure out how to have you on a lot on our airwaves. And Jared, I'm going to call you a little later after the show. Okay, let's go out with DJ Cav, and hopefully we have that queued up. I forget the name of the song now, but it has to do with Sprouting Life or something like that. But check him out, DJ Cavan. And thank you, Kalia. Thank you to your listeners. And go out and talk to some trees today.
I got so much seats, I got no more land. Pull up on your block in that veggie van. Keep my broccoli local like I always did. Give me a bucket or two, watch me go playing in the streets. I got so much seats, I got no more land. Pull up on your block in that veggie van. Keep my broccoli local like I always did. This that eco hip hop, healthy for them kid. Yeah. Yeah, my veggies so fresh, bitch so fresh, garden so clean, grown with the best, rose in my hood, throwing up the X, dirt stay wet, flex, 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 got a pocket full of seeds, what's next? Farmers markets always gonna have the fresh, look at the way that they eat, look at the way that they eat, you ain't finished your plate, why are you falling asleep? Never too late, be who you needed to be. Meet me out in the wood, ready to plant the tree. Homie, I'm good.
Big green growing, big green.
Sprout that life.
Big green growing, big green.
Sprout that make you think twice when you pull up on the corner store. What's the shelf life of your food? They say, I don't know. Why you eat that processed food?
Calling all blues lovers. The WPFW Blues Day fundraiser is coming back, and we're coming back in a big way. Saturday, August 20th is the date, and Lamont's Entertainment Complex is once again the place. The gates will open at noon, and the showtime will run from 1 p.m. till 6 p.m. Performing will be Jim Bennett and the Unique Creation Band with special guests, Hardway Connection Band and Show, Mama Moon and the Rump Shakers, and Clarence the Blues Man Turner. DJ Ultramix will keep the blues pumping in between sets, and Dr. Nick will be the MC. Come meet and greet some of your favorite WPFW blues programmers. The tickets will be $35 per person and may be purchased the day of the show at the gate. Lamont's Entertainment Complex is located at 4400 Livingston Road in Pamunkey, Maryland. We look forward to seeing you August 20th at Lamont's. And don't forget the blues.
Hello, I'm Dave Zirin from WPFW's The Collision with an editorial. Brittany Griner, the women's basketball superstar, is currently in prison in Russia, facing 10 years behind bars, 5 years at hard labor for the alleged crime of bringing hashish oil into the country through Moscow airport. It is so important that we realize that Brittany Griner is not facing any form of justice. Instead, she has become a political prisoner, a victim of the growing crisis that exists between Russia and the United States. It is so important that we organize right here and right now to bring Brittany Griner home. Already, there have been protests in places like New York, Phoenix, where Brittany Griner plays, and of course here in Washington, D.C. Not so much to protest Russia to bring Brittany Griner home, but to protest our own government to make sure that they aren't ignoring Brittany Griner and ignoring the plight of her wife, Cheryl. Look, here are the facts. There are two wings of the sports movement right now. One wing loves Brittany Griner so much that they're starting to organize. They're starting to be heard. They're starting to get out there. They're starting to say, we need to organize to bring Brittany Griner home. There's another wing of the sports world that frankly doesn't care. They just don't love Brittany Griner enough. If it was Tom Brady or Steph Curry in a Russian prison facing 10 years behind bars, 5 years at hard labor, believe me, the sports world would stop on its axis, and every day there would be demands to bring Brittany Griner home. Look, the Biden administration quite simply just isn't doing enough. It's vital that we step into the breach and fight to free Brittany Griner. For WPFW, I'm Dave Zirin from The Collision. Have a great day.
Sophie's Parlor is the original woman's radio collective. Wednesdays from 3 to 5 p.m., the best music divas on radio at 89.3 FM and sophiesparlor.blogspot.com.